If you're watching this video, I've played Gotham Knight. What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Olympus Game Reviews, and today we're unpacking Gotham Knight. I play the game so you don't have to, or maybe you do. Before we get started, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on upcoming reviews. Without further ado, let's get to it. Those of you who don't know, Gotham Knight came out in 2022 for the PS5 and Xbox Series X. First up, we're going to get into the gameplay. The gameplay of Gotham Knight, it's not nothing too revolutionary here. If you play any of the Arkham series, to me, I feel like the mechanics are way better. Here in Gotham Knight, at times the combat can feel a little bit clunky. Sometimes it can feel a little bit stiff, where you're maybe not, the animation is not as smooth as you're jumping across and climbing buildings. Bat cycle, we're not even finna get into that. That bat cycle is horrible. I don't even know why it's in the game. If you play the Arkham Knight game and you've driven the Batmobile, that Batmobile is way better. From just the handles, and actually had a battle mode in the Batmobile, way better. The bat cycle in Gotham Knight, I don't even know why it's there. Like it don't do nothing special. It just drives, and the driving is not even all that great. The driving is stiff. It's something, feels like the physics of you driving that bat cycle. Why'd y'all do that? You can be driving and you bump into any little thing, it almost like it comes to a stop and you got to reverse and then you drive off. I'm like, man, ain't nobody got time for that. The only time I drive the bat cycle was when the game forces you to drive the bat cycle. Outside of that, on my own, it's faster to either scale the buildings and jump rooftops, or later on in the game, depending on what character you play with, they unlock a special travel ability. Like for me personally, when I play the game, I play from beginning to end with Red Hood. That was my favorite out of the four. So you either had a choice to play as Red Hood, Nightwing, Robin, or Batgirl. Me personally, I picked Red Hood. So my experience was from Red Hood's perspective. Red Hood, later on in the game, I think probably after like 2 chapters or so, you actually unlock, it's almost like a double jump, but it's like a double jump glide situation. So yeah, that's actually faster than the bat cycle. So needless to say, I didn't use the bat cycle. Midway through the game, when you meet up with Lucius Fox, you actually unlock fast travel. So once you do that, plus your gliding ability, there was literally no reason to drive the bat cycle. But enough of the bat cycle. The progression system in the game, I didn't find that it was too robust. There's plenty of other games that had skill trees and a lot of different abilities that you can unlock for your character and things like that. This one, the skill tree is very small. All in all, needs to say, everything was kind of skimmed down because the game is really not that long. The game is really short, especially the main quest is really short. I felt like they had to squeeze everything in there in the time frame of you playing the game, right? Of the main story. You can do the side story to kind of fluff out the rest of the skill tree. You unlock everything basically just by playing through the game. The skill tree in the game, I felt, was kind of pointless as well, only because all the good stuff, like the good abilities and things like that you unlock them automatically just by progressing through the story. So the stuff you would spend your skills tree points on, I feel like it didn't make that big of a difference during combat. I mean, I know, like, for one, it'll be like one of the perks will be you do an extra 5 or 10% more damage. I'm like, I hear you, but when I'm actually fighting, I don't feel that. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. But the special abilities, they didn't have too many special abilities that was actually worth using. A lot of them I didn't even use. So it's like me personally, I kind of, especially with, and this is just like say from Red Hood. So with Red Hood, I mainly just stuck with um, like two, probably two of my special abilities out of four of them. The other two, I didn't really use. One of them it just took too long to use it. As far as like the charge time, I was like, it's not worth using because trying to use that ability in combat, the enemies hit you probably like 90% of the time. So I'm like, all right, I'm not using this because I take too much damage. The way the mission structure is set up, it's like it takes it by night, where it's like each night is a patrol, right? So you patrol the city, stop crimes, everything like that, and interrogate enemies to get information and intel on like future crimes, right? And then once you do all that, you report back to the bell tower. It ends your patrol, and then the next time you leave the patrol is the next night. So it kind of is like night one, night two, night three, night four. You continuously go on patrols that way. Outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot. A lot of the side missions get repetitive. It would have been cool if some of the side missions, just like one of the random crimes or whatever, kind of forces you to use the bat cycle, like whether you got to chase down like a car chase or something like that, similar to like the Spider-Man games, how you got like a random, you know, getaway robbery and you swing in to catch up to the car and you land on it, things like that. Something like that, but in a more Batman style, right? But on second note, that probably would have been a bad idea because the mechanics of the bat cycle was terrible. Moving on. Next up, we're going to talk about the graphics. The graphics of the game wasn't horrible. For it to be on a next-gen console, whether it's like the PS5 and the Xbox Series S, I feel like the graphic could have been better. But the fact that it was exclusive to a next-gen console, the graphics I felt were mid. Like the graphics felt like they were on PS4, right? Which is not bad. PS4 doesn't have bad graphics. Nobody would have cared if the game was on the PS4. The game on PS5 and Xbox Series X is capped at 30 frames per second. For me, that's not a big deal. I know nowadays, especially with gaming and especially where we're at in the generation and the technology, a lot of people emphasize frame rates, 60 frames a second, 120 frames per second, everything like that. But for me, I've been gaming for a long time. It's not as important to me as long as it's consistent. Like I don't want it to be dropping up and down and things like that. Experiencing all this lag and stuff like that. Similar to like Cyberpunk. That is a different story. If the frame rate is just locked at 30, honestly, me playing it didn't really, I didn't experience any lag playing it. Typically nowadays, like when you playing a game, you know how it asks when you first started up, I'd ask you, hey, do you want to be in performance mode or like graphics mode or something like that, where you can either choose, either the ray tracing, high quality graphics versus 60 frames a second, things like that. Me personally, 9 out of 10, I tend to choose give me the best quality graphics over frame rate, right? That's just me, because I like the visuals, right? I like the visuals, so give me the best visuals you can possibly give me, and as long as you can deliver them consistently, I'm fine. Like I don't care. And depending on what games you play, 9 out of 10, you don't really notice 60 frames or 30 frames. Nobody cares, or I don't care. Storyline is decent. It's basically, as we all know by now, Batman dies and kind of leaves Gotham in the hands of his proteges, right? So you got, like I said, you got Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, and Robin. As the city's kind of in chaos now, because it's now like, shoot, Batman ain't here no more. Everybody's outside, right? Everybody outside doing their thing. Later find out that the Court of Owls is kind of plotting something, like they're on the rise now, because Batman is gone, so the city's defender is basically gone. Nobody's really expecting Nightwing and, you know, Red Hood and all them to really be stepping up trying to save the city. It's kind of like, you know, like they ain't nobody, and it's just, you know, let's just go ahead and do our thing. Also, Talia al Ghul, she's running the League of Shadows, but she's kind of playing a double agent and end up double crossing you and end up revealing like, oh, she's the main villain of the game. A lot of the side missions is where you would see all the other iconic characters outside of Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is part of, she's introduced as far as the main story, but then to further like experience her story, she has a side mission. Clayface has a side mission. You won't really run into Clayface if you just focus on the main mission. Like you probably would never know he's in the game. And the same thing with Mr. Freeze. You probably would never know he's in the game if you don't explore the side mission. So you got Harley, Clayface, and Mr. Freeze. As far as the main story, the only iconic character you run into outside of Talia is Penguin, and you meet up at his bar. He's not really a villain. He ends up kind of helping you to a degree. It's almost like the enemy of my enemy situation. One thing I did like is how, like I say, I played from the perspective of Red Hood, so I do like how like certain points in the game get a little personal, I guess, with Red Hood, like as far as like they mention, you know, what happened with him and Joker, and, you know, basically how he became Red Hood and how he got brought back using the Lazarus Pit. The characters kind of mention that, and, you know, Red Hood's mental, his mind ain't always there, right? He's kind of broken a little bit. He's getting better. He's fighting with it. He's dealing with it on a daily basis. But yeah, how the characters kind of mention that throughout the story. I take it every character has their own like personal dialogue with characters throughout the game. As far as like overall with the story and how the characters develop, they all kind of come together because in the beginning of the game, Batman kind of sends a signal, like a distress signal, before he dies. After Batman sends out his SOS signal, they all kind of come together, and, you know, they all kind of doing their individual thing, but as the story progresses, they kind of form together as a unit, right? And be more team by the end of the game. At this point, it's time to give the final verdict on the review. So it's either going to be trash, discount, or day one. So I think overall I'll give it a discount. I don't think it's a day one. I don't think it's trash, completely trash. It ain't bad. It's not the best game, but it's not bad as well. If you can get it on a discount, I don't think you'll be mad at it. You know what I mean? I think you'll get something out of it. You'll get some enjoyment, especially if you like Batman, like Gotham, the whole universe over there. You might get some enjoyment out of it. Be sure to like, subscribe on future content so you don't miss out. Until next time.